So what is the best crypto exchange in the world? You would think it's an easy answer, but here we have the biggest spot crypto exchanges in the world. And well, it's a very long list. I'm still scrolling and you can choose from all of them, and all of them would offer you in many ways similar services. So the question is, of course, which one would you go with? I'm here at 250, and purely based on that list alone, you can see there is not one best exchange. Otherwise, everybody would only be using that. There's many factors to consider, right? Certain exchanges only work in certain jurisdictions and countries, and some exchanges focus on more beginners, others on more pros. So there's really not one size fit all approach here. It really depends on your niche. And that's why in this video, I want to share with you some of the exchanges that I use myself and can really recommend based on different parameters. Number one, for beginners and people just looking to buy and sell cryptocurrency, maybe dollar cost average for the long term, I think I have some great options for you. There's another category where we talk about frequent traders, or people who really long time in cryptocurrency and know their way around, and they want to get the most out of a platform while also getting the lowest fees. That's a big consideration as well. And thirdly, we talk about different cryptocurrency exchanges that offer potentially the nicest cryptocurrency card, because that's also becoming more and more attractive. A lot of exchanges are operating great cards with some nice perks for users. And lastly, of course, my final recommendation and my current setup that I will share with you. But quickly jumping back into the list over here on CoinMarketCap, you can go on exchanges and spot to filter by biggest. So that's a good starting point, right? Because you really want to see, what are the biggest exchanges in terms of trading volume, average liquidity, right? You can have a big exchange, but people, if they're not trading on it, it's not really that good. So you want to have a lot of activity going on, the weekly visits. So the different parameters, how they, sort of score that over here. And obviously you see some of the biggest names. We'll touch on some of them in a moment, but I think that's already a good indication. Now, obviously I wouldn't want to go with one of the 200 biggest exchanges. I would definitely focus on one of the bigger ones over here to kind of know that there is a lot of activity and trading volume happening on a regular basis. Right, so let's start off with the first category, and these are crypto exchanges for beginners. And here I really talk about exchanges that are most simple and most easy to use for people who are just trying to get into crypto, or who don't want to mess around with derivatives or some margin trading or what have you. Really just log in, send some fiat money like dollars, pounds, euros, whatever into the exchange, buy some cryptocurrency with there, and then either let it sit there or ideally take self-custody and withdraw it onto the hardware wallet. So that's the first category we look into. And here obviously we're starting off with one of the granddaddies of crypto exchanges, and that is of course Coinbase, which has been around for quite a while now. It's a US stock listed company actually, and the biggest stock exchange in the US, and in fact one of the biggest ones in the world. So they are really one of the more trusted players out there, even though we always say not your keys, not your crypto. We've also seen previously big crypto exchanges like FTX going bust. So you can never 100% trust any exchange, because obviously your funds are not secured, unlike with a stockbroker or with the bank. Here, if they go bust, most likely you're going to lose all your money. But obviously you need an exchange in order to facilitate crypto trading, buying, selling, whatever you want to do. But overall, definitely a very, very solid app. Really like the experience, straightforward. That's what it says on the tin, and really easy to use. Now again, it may not be available in every country. If it's not available in your country, just move on to the next one. But overall, obviously a really good platform to start buying. Now the one caveat I will say with Coinbase, but generally with all the exchanges where you have a simplified buying experience, and these are the high costs. Now, I made previously separate videos about it, really dissecting how it works. They won't show you the fees directly. They just say how much you want to buy for, what you will get, and you confirm and you buy without even sometimes seeing the fees. Now, I don't remember how it was on Coinbase, as I used them quite a while ago, because I stopped using them because of the high fees. But also it's something what we call the spread or the price markup, because they might show you for $100 you get X amount of Bitcoin, but in reality you should be getting even more Bitcoin for the same amount of money on another exchange. So they don't call it a fee, but they just hike up the prices. So it's kind of sandwiched into that buying experience. So again, that's not exclusive only to Coinbase. That also happens on some other exchanges, especially once again, as soon as the interface gets more simple. Sadly, it seems that they take advantage of the user and charge them more for it. There is, however, something what they call Coinbase Advanced. And once again, a lot of the platforms we talk about in the first niche will have some kind of advanced mode. And I usually recommend, as soon as you find a way around, you made a few first buys on obviously the simple mode, which is great to get started. Later on, I really recommend switching to advanced or pro mode or whatever they call it. I'll show you on each of the platforms, because here generally, while the interface once again might look a little bit more messy and overwhelming at first, you generally get a much better price. And yeah, so it really makes sense to learn the ins and outs of those, more advanced platforms, especially if you see yourself trading for a longer period, because those fees, they do add up. The next one, and arguably one of the biggest crypto exchanges around the world, and that is crypto.com. And honestly, they've been really expanding and growing like absolutely crazy, and rightfully so. I think the experience is really superb. They're available in pretty much most countries around the world, even in the US, which a lot of the other exchanges are not available in the US. So if you're from the US, definitely something to consider. And honestly, the app experience really, really nice. I just recently signed up to it once again. I used to have the card in the past, then stopped using it for a while, but now came back. But if you're really just starting to get into crypto, I think it can be a great exchange to get you started. And I really like that they're expanding the overall offering. They call it level up. So if you click into this over here, basically they now want to become the one app for everything. They're going to be offering stocks, ETFs, in addition to crypto trading, which is really unique, right? Because mostly you have a stockbroker and then you have a crypto exchange, but there isn't really one player that brings it all together. So that's something really unique. They're also going to be offering banking accounts for the users, which is really unique. In addition, of course, to their great cards. We'll come to this in the later section of the video because their cards are really top notch, I would say. So yeah, they're really trying to become the go-to app for everything finance and investing related. So definitely, again, for beginners, I think it makes it really attractive, and they have a lot of benefits and perks the more you stake. And that's something also interesting. A lot of platforms will kind of ask you to buy into their system by acquiring the native token. So on crypto.com, for example, they call it the Kronos token, right? It's now currently actually the 41 biggest coin in the world. However, the performance actually hasn't been too tremendous, I would say. Quite the contrary, it really kind of moved sideline since, what is this over here, 2019. It kind of had a little peak over here, 21, 22, but then again, kind of back to the same price level. So that's a bit of a shame because obviously you invest a lot into the Kronos ecosystem to lock up, to get the benefits and so forth. And you also get rewards paid out to you in Kronos token. So it sounds exciting, right, to accumulate more. However, in the end, if the price more or less stays the same, it's less exciting, right? Imagine if you were paid out in Bitcoin over time, that would be much better because Bitcoin appreciated in price while that kind of flatlined. So that's something to keep in mind. Plus, once again, the high fees. And here, they don't show you the fees when you trade. It's once again the similar story, like the price markup and spreads that are factored in. And here, I think that was the example I referred to, was almost 3% in one transaction that I did. So yeah, with all due respect and love for the platform experience overall, maybe to get you started, but it is very expensive to do your transactions. But still, overall, a really solid platform, especially for beginners. And actually, same as I've shown you before with Coinbase Advanced, they also have something called crypto exchange. So here, once again, it does look a little bit more complicated and overwhelming. But the cool thing is it seamlessly integrates with your crypto.com account. So you set up the account and you can use the exchange as well. And here the fees are significantly less, some of the best fees out there. So much, much more competitive. They also have it as an app on the phone. So really good. So if you start off maybe with crypto.com and later on you want to take it more serious and reduce some fees, then definitely it makes sense to switch over to use the exchange more. And you can do the buy and sell over here, then move it across to your app if you want to do that. Really seamless, very nice, and definitely great that they offer you this option. With this, we move on to Kraken, and that's also one of the OGs in the space, from the US, but also obviously operating on a number of countries around the world. So really one of the nicer exchanges. I also used it in the beginning. I since then moved away from it, but definitely really, really solid exchange that I would definitely recommend for anyone starting out. It's a really, really solid choice. Have some nice ways to earn rewards also on your crypto sitting over there. So definitely very user friendly. And like the other exchange I mentioned before, they also have a pro version, Kraken Pro. So once again, you see here the difference, right? On Kraken, generally the fees are also higher than on the Pro. Not as bad, I would say, as on crypto.com. And again, it's very hard to sometimes generalize that because, as I said, it's not just a fee, a flat fee applied, but it's also price margins that are factored in and very dynamic. It depends on the currency pair that you're trading, right? If you trade USDT with Bitcoin is one thing, but if you trade Ethereum with Bitcoin, then you get a different price markup. So it's very hard for me to comment on it generally, but I would say on average, Kraken is probably one of the cheaper ones compared to the other ones. But once again, same story. You may start off with Kraken and then later on go with Kraken Pro, for example. Now, another great crypto exchange for beginners is actually Revolut X. Now, if you've been watching my channel, I'm a big fan of Revolut. I use it myself, and they recently introduced Revolut X, where they say, advanced trading for 0% maker fee and 0.09% taker fee. So yeah, that's obviously a bit more for the advanced. And obviously the fees generally are much better than inside the app. But of course, it is a bit more complex. So that would compare to, let's say, Kraken Pro or the crypto.com exchange. So it's a bit more complex than the app on the phone. But once again, obviously you get lower fees. but it's still kind of half-baked. So that's why I really wouldn't consider it as part of the advanced trading exchanges we'll speak about in a second, because here you still have a lot of limits. For example, right now, I believe you can only trade fiat currency. So you can't really trade USDT to Bitcoin, etc. Hopefully they will change that soon. Last time I used it, that was not possible. As you can see over here, actually they showed, USD to BTC, not USDT. So a lot of people like stable coins. They send it from exchange to exchange. So currently it seems you can't do that. They didn't have a stop loss order as well. So a lot of advanced features are lacking. So that's why I still keep it in a sort of beginner friendly niche. So if you are a heavy Revolut user and want to use that for crypto, fine, that's your choice, right? Now they introduced that you can withdraw your cryptocurrency, which is great. Previously, I could never recommend Revolut for that, but now that you can withdraw your crypto, that's great. So if you are already using Revolut, it might make sense for you to try out Revolut X and obviously benefit from lower trading fees. But keep in mind that there are still certain things you will be lacking compared to some of the more advanced exchanges we'll speak about in a second. And lastly, we come to Nexo, which is my current crypto exchange of choice. I've been using it for a number of years now. You can see over here my portfolio balance. And yeah, I really love it for a number of benefits. Mostly, of course, also for the interest that I earn by keeping my crypto over here. That's the total interest I earned so far. So really attractive. So in terms of earning rewards on your crypto, Nexo is definitely the way to go. They have recently rebranded, targeting more people with a little bit of crypto already. I think under $5,000 or euros, they will not even start paying interest. They changed that recently, so that's something to keep in mind. But as you start to have a slightly larger portfolio, I think Nexo can definitely offer quite a bit of benefits, especially to some of the other exchanges we previously looked at. And of course, I really like the clean overall user interface. Very straightforward, very easy to buy. And yeah, I've been really loving the experience, really not too overwhelming. But even here with Nexo, as much as I love it, it is quite expensive. When I've done the numbers and calculations, overall it came to around 1% in terms of total purchasing fees that are paid, right? In one way or the other. So you might once again be actually benefiting from going with Nexo Pro. So you can click into this over here and that will take you into Nexo Pro. And you can use the same logins that you have for the regular app. And once again, beauty is you can do that with pretty much all the apps I previously mentioned. And then you log into this kind of interface, which once again in the beginning might look a bit more intimidating, but trust me, it's very simple. Made a number of videos around this. So you can check that out if you want. And here you can do the same trades, but significantly less. Last time I paid even with Nexo as the token, right? So once again, as I've shown you before, the Kronos token, here you have a specific Nexo token, which is currently the 80th biggest coin in the world. And actually that performed really well. You can see that over here. So if you have those Nexo tokens, you benefit even more from lower fees. So last time when I traded here, it was around 0.1% fees, which honestly, it's really hard to beat that. And I was really happy with that, of course. Right, with this, we move to the next category. And these are crypto exchanges for frequent traders or people with experience in cryptocurrency. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a high frequency trader and trade every single day. You might just be already in cryptocurrency for a number of years and you just want to have lower fees, but you know your way around. I think those exchanges can really make sense for you to upgrade from one of the beginner platforms that I've previously shown you. So one of them is definitely Binance because it is the biggest crypto exchange in the world. So arguably they're doing something right? It's not an exchange I personally use, but if somebody asked me, can I use Binance? I would say absolutely. Despite all the drama with the CEO and so forth, overall, as a platform, they're really, really solid. So obviously it depends from where you access it. The cool thing is they can also switch between different interfaces. You can see, for example, here is the light one, the more beginner friendly, the same we've seen with Crypto.com and Coinbase, but then you can switch to the Pro and you can see a bit more advanced interface. So that's also nice that they kind of bake that in. And the funny thing is here, once again, the fees will change, which is so interesting, right? So it really pays off to learn and exchange a bit more detailed so you can benefit from those lower fees, which will make a difference over the long term. Now, for me personally, why I don't use it here in the UAE? Because it's quite difficult to get my dollars or dirhams into it. So for me, it's not the most convenient way. But if you're starting off and want a bit more advanced exchange, then definitely you can't go wrong with Binance. The next one is Bybit. You see over here currently second biggest, and it's definitely also another very, very solid exchange, which I can definitely recommend. I used it myself for a while, but obviously I can't have too many exchanges, right? Because usually I just trade and then withdraw the crypto. I don't just have it lying around, and I'm not really a frequent trader myself, right? I don't use leverage or any of these things. So it's great to try it out. I like to experience and try different exchanges, but generally they're all very, very similar in many ways. In fact, when you go over here to derivatives, you can actually see maker fees and taker fees, and you see most of them are very, very similar, slight differences. Obviously, the more you trade with them, you get VIP benefits and lower fee discounts, but generally those fees are very, very attractive, and definitely to some of the exchanges I mentioned previously, much, much cheaper. So yeah, for sure, definitely another very solid option. And once again, here it probably comes down to, what kind of user interface you like more, even though they look all very similar. And of course, course, what is available and makes more sense in your specific country. Whilst Bybit has an amazing card, I'll come to this a little bit later on in the card section. Unfortunately, right now, for me to deposit my dirhams here, it's not that easy. So yeah, that's why I actually don't use them that much. And I always recommend you to go to the deposit page and see how you can deposit your funds, right? In terms of USD, it's quite straightforward. But in my case, if I want to deposit AED dirhams, right now it's a little bit difficult. So definitely before you choose an exchange, make sure your exchange of choice allows you to deposit your local currency, right? You don't want to have a currency exchange or send it internationally, which can get, very expensive and might take quite a bit of time. With this, we move on to yet another exchange, and that's called OKX, which has been growing quite rapidly, and actually an exchange that I've been using more and more in recent times, because especially if you live in the UAE, they allow AED instant deposits from the bank, which is really nice. And for me, it made sense just for that purpose alone to go with that. The fees are equally low like Binance and so forth, so there's no difference. But I can easily send my dirhams into that. So that's why I said there's no best. It depends on where you live, what are your requirements. And yes, despite the fact that they support McLaren Formula One team, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but be it as it may, I'm still happy to see Formula One really embracing crypto. You see Crypto.com being there, all the other exchanges, most of them are sponsoring one or the other team. So yeah, really interesting. And here we are inside the interface of how it would look like. So in my case, the trading pair would be a BTC to dirham, but you could also change it, BTC to USDT, for example. So you would have all the most popular pairs over here, and then obviously from here you can spot trade, convert, whatever you want to do. On the phone they also have a button to switch from simple to pro mode. So if you don't like this interface, you can quickly change back to the simple interface. But once again, keep in mind that would be more expensive. Such a shame that people penalize the simple interface with higher fees, but it is what it is. Just keep it in mind. And the last one I can really recommend, that's BitGet. Once again, I use that myself. Actually, when I did a bit of meme trading, because a lot of those meme coins, they're here quite quickly on BitGet, not so quickly on some of the other exchanges. So if you're into that kind of thing, which I'm not anymore, I learned my lesson. I made a lot of money until I didn't. So I stopped doing that. But if you're kind of into that and want to trade the latest coin, then BitGet might be really a great exchange for you. Once again, it does many of the same things that the other exchanges did that I previously shown you. But yeah, it's just another tool that you can try and use. The fees, once again, are pretty much similar and very, very low across all of those more advanced exchanges. So, different exchanges have different sign-up bonus. I'll link some of them in the description below. So you might benefit from that, because just opening, there is no fee for you. So you might just want to open up, try and play around with this a little bit and see which one you like the most. But generally, as I've shown you before, it does pretty much the same thing as all the other exchanges here, the interface. So yeah, you can also switch the pairs here. You can do leverage trading, see the order books. You can rearrange how you like it. Most of them use TradingView for the charting, so you'll be familiar with that. So yeah, really straightforward and reliable crypto exchange for sure. All right, with this, we move on to the last category, and these are crypto cards. And here I have to come back to Crypto.com, which honestly, right now, I can really say, if you're really after the best crypto card with the most benefits, I would probably have to give it to Crypto.com, despite all the things I previously mentioned with the generally higher fees and of course the buy-in into the Kronos ecosystem, because as you can see over here, you would have to lock up more and more cryptocurrency in terms of Kronos to get more benefits. And you can see some of those lockups get really big, right? I mean, to get Obsidian level, you have to lock up $500,000 worth of Kronos token for 1 year to really benefit from that. I'm personally right now on the Ruby one, which is $500. I used to be in the past on Jade Indigo, and my dream was always to go to Icy Rose card, but now it's $50,000, so it would be way too high for me, and I would definitely not consider that. However, obviously you can start off on Ruby, and especially on the Jade Indigo, which I was eyeing again a little bit, you do get some juicy benefits. For example, obviously on everyday spending, you get a certain cashback amount over here. Crypto.com travel rewards as well, 5%, so that's really nice. I mean, those 3.5% alone, it's really juicy, right? However, keep in mind that currently there's a monthly $75 reward cap in place, so every month you can earn a maximum in cashback of $75, and that will be paid to you in Kronos token. So if you go up to the Icy Rose card, then you can get up to 5% cashback in Kronos without a limit. So that's really, really attractive, I would say. Obviously, you can go all the way up to 8%, but yeah, I don't know too many people who would have $1 million worth of Kronos token. Of course, you have all the other benefits over here, like trading benefits. You can earn even more rewards when you stake your crypto over there. Referral bonus goes up to $100. They also have bonus on stock transfers. So if you do transfer your shares from another stockbroker into here, you can get some nice juicy sign-up bonus as well, all based on your card that you have, as well as banking benefits over here, and then some cool services, right? For example, subscription rebates, where they pay for your Spotify and Netflix. Also, some of those cards give you free airport lounge access, plus even one guest, right? Which I was really interested in. And lastly, exclusive experiences Obviously, they're huge sponsors globally of F1, UFC, football teams. So generally, if you're one of the higher members over here, chances are high that they will invite you to various events of your choice. So I think that's also quite a nice benefit. So for sure, in terms of overall benefits, I think Crypto.com card is the card to go. Another great card is the Bybit card, which honestly also offers some nice benefits where you can earn up to 10% cashback, and you can choose between using your fiat currency or your crypto. And generally, I prefer using my fiat currency because crypto, generally moves in price, and often, once again, they charge you quite a high fee to convert crypto to fiat if you pay in the moment. So that's something to keep in mind. They also offer the rebates, similar like the Crypto.com card for various things over here. You see Netflix, Spotify, Prime, ChatGPT, even TradingView. So that's definitely attractive as well. No annual fees, and you can earn up to 8% annual interest on your idle fund. So definitely has a lot going for it. As you can see over here, depends on which VIP level you are. And obviously the higher VIP level with Bybit is, the more benefits you get. But also keep in mind that they do have max monthly cashback in place. So that's just the fine print where you really have to run your own numbers. But it is definitely a good card to consider. And lastly, we come back once again to Nexo, because they also have a Nexo card, which honestly doesn't give you that many nice perks, maybe like the other ones like airport lounge access and so on. But the cool thing is you can very easily, with a click of a button, switch from credit to debit mode, which is really nifty because I don't really have a credit card. My only credit card is my Nexo card, because sometimes when I go to car rental, they need a credit card. Then I can just use my Nexo card for that. Really easy with a click of a button from debit to credit card. So that's powerful. Plus you can earn some nice cashback on pretty much most transactions as well. Up to 2% in Nexo, up to 0.5% if you earn in Bitcoin. That obviously depends on your level in Nexo. The more Nexo token you hold, the higher your level gets. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's a really easy to use, no fee cryptocurrency card. So for anyone trying to dabble around with it, get a feel for how a crypto card would work, and you can very quickly add the virtual card to your Google or Apple Pay and start using it. And definitely one of the better cards to try out. What I'm currently using is OKX to on-ramp my money, where I can easily send my dirhams into the exchange, convert it to USDT, or even buy Bitcoin over there, because the fees are very, very little. And once I have it in there, I can very easily send it into my Nexo exchange. Unfortunately, there's always a 15-day lockup to withdraw my funds, which is a bit annoying. Hopefully that will be lifted eventually. The longer I use it, that's currently in place. So I have to wait 2 weeks until I can withdraw it and send it. But yeah, it is what it is, but I still get a nice experience and no extra fees that I have with some of the other exchanges. And once it's in Nexo, obviously I start earning interest right away on it. But in case I send USDT just to have it sitting over there and I want to buy some more Bitcoin, I would then go into Nexo Pro and on there convert my USDT into Bitcoin, and then I can withdraw it very seamlessly without any additional fees and at a fraction of the cost. Then I could do it on the Nexo app, and then I would immediately withdraw it from my Nexo Pro into the Nexo account to earn the interest, and of course eventually move some of it into my 2 hardware wallets. And that's of course my final recommendation. As great as those exchanges are, and they're really good to buy and sell and benefit from certain perks and the cards and so forth, ultimately the benefit of cryptocurrency is that we can take self-custody of it. So do yourself a favor, keep the majority of your funds off the exchange, because there is no guarantee, as I said, if the exchange go bust, your money, you can say goodbye to it. So you want to take ownership of it. And there are 2 hardware wallets that I really recommend. Number 1 is TANGEM. It's very simple to get started. I can really recommend it. If you want to try it out, I've linked down in the description below with a code where you get a nice discount. And the second hardware wallet that I've been using for a number of years now, where I have majority of my crypto actually, is a Ledger hardware wallet. And it's really proven time and time that they are really safe. They know what they're doing. I love the experience. The Ledger Live interface, very easy, very user-friendly. I can check my crypto on the phone, on the computer. Really recommend it. And I sleep very peacefully at night, knowing that my crypto is safe and I'm in charge of it. And since you made it all the way until the end, you might enjoy watching this video over here next. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.